Welcome, everyone, to this Student Voices panel. We are focusing today on D2L and other tech tools that make a difference. And these student voices are based upon interviews that we've had. They're based upon surveys that students had given us some information. And the idea behind it is to try to make sure that we can capture all of the information that students give us that says this works really well. And then we have professional development sessions following this where we can share, well, how do I actually do that? How do I make that happen then? We'll go ahead and go a little further. You have your hosts today. We have Carrie Ann Sparks.
Hello.
And I'm Laura Thompson. And Carrie Ann is new for our Ed Tech position. And then I'm the Learning Strategies Coordinator. So we do have some guest student voices. Interestingly enough, though, this time was a little difficult for some students to be able to come live. We do have one who will be trying to join us when her class gets out. So we'll incorporate her voice at that time.
I'm actually here.
Yay! Oh, that's
he let me go early.
Excellent, excellent. So we do have Alexis Moore here with us. And we also have a couple of virtual students with us too. So this will be kind of exciting to incorporate those voices. Alexis, did you want to give us a little bit of an introduction?
Sure. My name is Alexis. I respond to Lexi. Honestly, I respond to anything that starts with an A. I just ask people to be nice to me. I am an elementary education major in the Wilmington campus. I've been here for about 3 years. I am part of student government, the education club, and Spectrum United, which is a support group for people with autism. So I'm wearing very, very many hats, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us, Alexis. Thank you. We'll start off talking about D2L organization, and we do have this virtual student, Martin, who joins us. And he's going to share with us a little bit of his experience with D2L organization. And then Alexis, be ready because we're going to ask you the question after this one, okay? Are you ready? All right, she's ready. A time or some way that an instructor has used D2L, for instance, the organization of their course, to really help you be successful.
Most definitely. I'd love to. Well, first and foremost, I'm a very kinesthetic type of learner. I'm somewhat of a old school, quote unquote, old school. So I'm used to being in person, and Deltec has done a phenomenal job at facilitating D2L and making it easier for me, a kinesthetic learner, to learn in a virtual environment. And one of the things that most of my instructors will do is each week there'll be a weekly announcement, sort of a gauge for what's due that week, what's coming up in the next couple weeks. And each D2L page for each course will have a home page where that announcement will normally be. There'll be a content page where you can actually go into the whole semester and break it down unit by unit. There'll be a getting started tab in that particular content area where you can meet your instructor virtually. There's a grades tab where you can check what grades you've already accumulated and all the grades that are still left throughout the semester. And actually my favorite and my obsessive compulsive mind is the class progress, I think it's called, where you can actually see your highest possible grade and what your lowest possible grade by the end of the semester. And I love to watch as hopefully my lowest possible grade climbs up to a C, a B, and A throughout the duration of the semester.
All right. So that was a little bit from Martin, that he really appreciates the way that the courses are organized, and he really appreciates some of the other tools that can be used inside of D2L. And we'll talk more about those as well. I'm going to hand it over to Carrie Ann so that she can have our conversation with Alexis.
Hi, Alexis.
Good morning.
So can you tell me about a time that the way a course was organized in D2L helped you to be successful in the course?
I certainly can tell you a few things, actually.
Okay.
Actually, I'm in a class with lovely Martin. Love him to death. I work with him quite a bit, and I have to agree with him. A lot of the organization between units are great, but we actually have a class where I really enjoyed where it's a class that doesn't meet every single day. It's one of those hybrid classes. It's actually a study away course. And she had the what do you need to get done before class? What are we doing on, May 5th of this year? What are we doing on, April whatever? That I have found is so great when you don't meet every single day, because it can be very, very anxiety stricken for me. Because I'm like, this is not a class that I meet every day. I usually I'm just like Martin, I'm old school. If I'm meeting every single day, I know, hey, I got to think about English because I meet in 2 days. So I'm not thinking about that. So I love how she has it on this day. This is what we're talking about. This is what you need to get done. This is your assignment that's due. The announcements have been great. Actually, I was just talking to my instructor. Being in student government, it's been a great way for teachers and students to be open about different resources that are there, and I can share with any instructor that I've had, and I can just email them and say, hey, look, student government has this virtual lounge. This is the link, and they can come in and we can help them in whatever way. So those are the types of things that I've enjoyed about D2L, is that teachers can put in whatever they want, so that students have those resources.
That's great. Thanks so much, Alexis. I think now we're going to look at a few quotes from other students who answered some surveys to talk about what things they found helpful in D2L that their instructors did.
There we go. So some of the quotes from the surveys, we're talking about, for instance, the modules looking exactly the same every week. So there's an intro, then there's notes, then there's the assignment, then there's quizzes or the test. And they really appreciated that structure. Other students responded that their courses in the semester were organized well and things were easy to find. And for instance, another course might be organized by chapter. And within each of those chapters, there were helpful learning tools such as PowerPoints or videos. So it sounds like for students, a lot of it is making sure there's an organizing principle to your course that fits with the course. So it doesn't always have to be by modules or necessarily by weeks. It could be by chapters, but it's something that makes sense. And then really talking to the students about the organizational structure and teaching them why it was organized the way or how it should be able to help facilitate their success really helps students understand the organization, how they can find materials. We did have another bit of input about D2L organization, that for instance, their course was organized with a reading section that told them what needed to be read. Then there was a listening and review section. There was a watch section for any videos that were needed. And lastly would be the assignments, exams, or quizzes as another organizing structure. And really, they felt that that helped them with some clarification, and it helped them know exactly what was expected on assignments, in their exams, or in their papers. Are there thoughts or are there comments about D2L organization? Alexis, do you want to add to any of those quotes, like your thoughts about that?
I think my fellow students have done a great job. I love everything that they're saying. I love the organization. I am somebody, as you can imagine, I hop from one thing to another, to another, to another. So being able to find what I need to find in a matter of 2 minutes is a great thing. I don't like having to look for 10 minutes for one assignment. I get frustrated very easily. So I do love the fact that, there are some teachers that do it by chapter. They do have, okay, read, watch, Another great thing I did want to mention, I forgot to mention, is the use of, just like we're doing now, we're recording a Zoom. If I get sick, and I can't go to class one day, or like I said, I was in study away, so I was out of state for a week. So I could just go back to that week. There's a lot of teachers that'll do it by week. I can say, oh, week of April 19th, I was not here. So just click on that, click on the Zoom link, and I can actually see exactly what I missed. And it's just like I'm right there. And I love that because I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. And as a student who's very, very adamant about missing missing days, I've gone to class with migraines, you name it, I've gone to class. That's very important to me, is feeling like I haven't missed anything. So my fellow students have done a very good job of explaining all of that. So yay.
Excellent. Are there questions or comments from anyone who's attending? You can either write it in the chat or you can unmute. No?
I was just going to say, I think two things. One, I think it's really important, even if we have students who have been at Del Tech for a while, to, at the start of your course, to bring up the D2L and to show them how you've organized the course. Sometimes we think things are self-evident to us because we're experts in our field, and we're teaching the course. But for students who are taking 4 or 5 different courses at a time, it can be really helpful to show them the lay of the land and explain to them how you've done it right at the very beginning, and then just remembering that students are taking multiple courses, and so your course might be designed a little bit differently. And sometimes, I know in my courses I will bring stuff up multiple weeks to show students where things are, just to kind of remind them, because when you have more than one instructor, you've got more than one format that you're working with. So sometimes it can be helpful to be reminded of how this particular instructor has organized things.
Thank you for that, Carrie Ann. And also, many faculty will put in a course orientation video that kind of helps walk the students through. And Alexis, I'm not sure if you've had that in some of your courses or not, where the faculty, your teacher has put in kind of that descriptive video at the beginning. Have you had that experience?
What do you mean by descriptive video? Like descriptive video of how they laid out the course, or like an autobiographical of who they are? Because I've actually had both. And I love them both. I love them both. I have a teacher, actually both my teachers this semester. One did an autobiographical because that was actually part of our assignment, because we were supposed to put in our leadership philosophy. So that was great to know their leadership philosophy, so that we can build off of that. I also did have, I've had several teachers who have done videos of, hey, this is where to find everything. If you have trouble, this is where you can find my email or my phone number. This is the best way to contact me. Like, all of these things were in that video. And to have that in one spot, again, I'm somebody who's find it and go, find it and go, find it and go. And so that video has been a lifesaver, because I could just rewind it and say, okay, that's where I need to go there and get it done. So I love those.
Excellent. Thank you for that feedback. So that is definitely a practice that we know helps a lot of people. All right, we'll go ahead and get back in here. And we do have a virtual student who was able to visit us today. This student, she was not able to be here because she is working today, but she did provide us with a written statement. You might recognize the voice that's doing the voiceover for us, but I used a little tool called Voki to create this avatar. So we'll listen to her introduction and then her description of some things that have helped in D2L. And again, give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to the Student Voices panel. My name is Anastasia Winder. I am president of the Alpha Beta Kappa chapter of Phi Beta Kappa at the Terry campus, and I'm graduating this May with my associates in information technology and networking. Some of the things that helped me throughout my time at Delaware Tech were tutorial videos that went along with the assignment, having weekly announcements, and having instructions of certain topics in the module. The tutorial or walkthrough videos allowed me to see where my mistakes were in the assignment, make sure I was on the right path, and the voice explanations helped me to understand the concepts better. The weekly announcement really helped me to set the tone for the week. It made the expectations more clear and gave everyone a better understanding of what was due that week. The written instructions in the module were a huge stress relief. Sometimes when you try to find examples on the internet, they're wrong or not completely on topic with what you're trying to learn. Providing the instructions allowed me to get used to the concept better. Thank you again for having me on the Student Voices panel.
That was just kind of a fun way to present her written description. There we go. Some other D2L tools as well. For instance, in addition to having the module be organized with a section with a checklist, pre-work, lecture activities, and then that deeper dive folder, one of the things that students had commented is that when they wanted to learn more, the instructor provided a deeper dive folder or additional resources folder, something like that, because you have some students who, if it's part of their major, their direction, they really want to go further with the information and being able to provide that resource there. Some students responded about the checklist also. That's a tool inside D2L that can help them walk through the organization of the course and how they can check off things that they've completed. And that can be done as an assignment or just as a resource. And then some students commented about the badging as well, that they really appreciated, they really enjoyed, they found it motivating to be able to earn badges on their way through the course. So these are also things that we can do more professional development on. If you're saying, hey, I haven't really used that yet, I'd like to know more about that, we can definitely provide some more sessions about that. Alexis, I saw you kind of smiling during this one. Have you used either the checklist or the badges?
I'm wondering what the badges are actually, because I was sitting here and I was thinking, because I actually wanted to mention the discussion boards. Those are great tools, especially with virtual. I've noticed that working with a lot of students, myself as a future educator, a lot of students are struggling with feeling connected to their classes, feeling connected to each other. And those discussion boards are a wonderful tool that I myself love, because when I see that little orange dot on the top, when I go into my D2L and I'm like, oh, either somebody graded something or somebody responded to my discussion, and being able to keep connected that way is great. But the badges, I actually want to know what exactly that is, because the only thing that I know of is when I turn in something, I know that my phone will go off, my computer will go off, it'll go ding, 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 because I get those submission emails which are connected, and I love that, because there are times where I'll go, I was so tired last night. And I've actually done this where I've gone back to a teacher and I've said, look, I've been so tired lately. I don't remember turning in this assignment. Can you make sure that I turned it in? And they'll go back and they'll be like, yeah, you turned it in on time. And I'll be like, I don't remember turning it in at all. And that's very, again, nerve-wracking of like, I don't remember doing that. It's very tiring. So getting those submission emails are very great, and being able to click, that's where I was smiling, was you can click on your assignments and you can actually see which ones have been submitted and what needs to be submitted, because it'll show you you've submitted 1, you've submitted 2, you've submitted however many documents for each assignment. So I do like that.
Excellent. And being able to, you reminded me of when Martin in his video had mentioned the notifications and being able to turn those on. So it might be valuable for some students to have a little tutorial on how do you turn on your notifications. And that's something that instructors could take a few minutes to describe at the beginning of a course, or be able to provide a link to that information so that students can figure out how to set up those notifications so they get the bing, bing, bings or the orange dots, right? Excellent. And thanks, Alexis, and if you want to email me, you and I can show you some examples of those badges. But I'll make note that that might be a really good thing for more instructors to learn about too, because Alexis' eyes lit up.
They did. I like shiny things. I like badges. I'm in a Girl Scout, so badges are kind of my thing. So I definitely will email you.
Excellent, excellent. All right. We do have other D2L tools too. And this was one that surprised me when I read it in the survey responses. The search bar. It seems so simple, but some students might not have had the experience using a search bar in the courses. So if the instructor takes just a moment to point it out. Now, what that means is inside your D2L classes, you might not have seen this yet. There's an actual search space at the top of your D2L course where you can type in something that you'd like to find. And if we use one of the keywords in the content, we'll be able to search for that information. So I thought that was a really interesting thing. That's a small thing, but it can be so useful. We can show an example of that in a little bit too. Are there questions or thoughts so far on these other D2L tools?
I actually do have a comment about that search bar because I found that recently. And one thing that I don't want to say I'm upset about, but it was a pretty big learning curve for me is that you actually have to go into D2L and you actually have to click your school website. You can't just go into the search bar and say, where do I find, the study away information? I don't know why I thought that you could do that on your D2L, but the search bar I have not really used specifically in D2L to find something because I find that more, I guess, useful in our website. If I want to find my degree works, or not, I'm sorry, not my degree works, my just the general sheet of what you would have to do, because I do have some students, like I said, I wear many hats. So I have had students email me and be like, hey, I saw this class on my sheet. Do you see it on your sheet? And I'll have to go into the general and be like, oh, well, this is a new class, that they changed because they've changed a lot of our majors quite a bit. So that's a very, very interesting thing to see. So knowing that you can only use that search bar for D2L is very important because I've tried to use it for other reasons and been unsuccessful.
Is this the search bar you're talking about? Or are you talking about a different search bar, Alexis?
I actually think it might be a different search bar. I don't know this search bar.
Okay, all right, okay. So inside your courses, if you type inside the topic here, and I remember I'm in my sandbox, but it's inside a course, right? When you type it, then you can find some things that might, like here's elements and elements. You can see with this keyword some of the things that would come up with that search topic. Were you talking about this?
That if they're in the new content experience, so if an instructor has built the course in a different experience, then you won't see that search bar.
Thank you. Let's see. So if I switch it over to the new, it disappeared. So thank you for pointing that out, Sarah. So that would be kind of the difference. There are two different experiences for students and for faculty to share the courses. So that's a good point. So maybe that's why you haven't seen it, Alexis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The second layout is kind of what my study away course looks like. My other course, which is horrible because I was just in that D2L, I think looks a little bit different. But the second layout is what my study away course looks like, which can be both great and not so great, but we work through it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So we'll look just a little bit further too. other tech tools, we have found that students really enjoyed Edpuzzle videos. And these are videos that instructors can get from the web. For instance, it can be ones that they've created or that they've located at a source, say YouTube. And the Edpuzzle gives them the opportunity to put questions into the video so that it will pause. It could be a multiple choice question, could be a short answer question, but it pauses the video so that students have the opportunity to respond. There's also the opportunity for a voiceover. So for instance, if you have found a source that's from YouTube and you feel that the explanation was not adequate, as we heard in Anastasia's statement, that sometimes YouTube, they feel like it's wrong or it's not quite right, then instructors are able to add additional information for their students. We do have a few Edpuzzle experts in the room today too, if we'd like to have any comments from them. But do we have any other comments about Edpuzzle?
One thing that's really nice about Edpuzzle is that it can be embedded right in the course. So that makes it easy with the navigation, in the course schedule. An instructor could link to it and it would be right there. So students don't have to go to an external website or anything like that.
And that's really nice because with that embedding opportunity, you have that chance to put it right into your course and we don't have to have anyone leave. Here's one example just to show you one that I created. Example, so you could actually experience it. So here are my questions. These are some examples of dad jokes. Why did the man name his dogs Rolex and Timex? And then you see it pauses for the question. It's a multiple choice. He wanted to live large. He couldn't tell time. They were watchdogs. What do you think it is? Go ahead and type it in the chat real quick. What's your answer? Oh, I see lots of agreement. We'll say they were watchdogs. Submit. And yay, you got it right, 100%. Yay. And then when you continue, I have some other groaner dad jokes in there, but that shows you each of these is a place that it stops for the question. This one has a short answer. What did the evil chicken lay?
Oh, I know.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Yes. Deviled egg. And then you can see the deviled eggs. Submit. This one will be graded later because it's a short answer. You're right. Deviled eggs, of course. And then finally, this one is just a note. You can put in that note, that comment, and you can have audio as well. This joke is really bad. Think hard. So it gives you that opportunity. Well, that one's really bad. We won't even worry about that one. But it shows you the different types of questions that you can pepper into Edpuzzle to help with your students. Any thoughts about that tech tool at all?
Thank you so much for sharing that. I've actually not had any teachers that have done that. And I think that'd be really cool. Like that's a way that we can keep our students engaged into what they're doing. So I'm surprised that I haven't seen that one before.
Excellent. Well, and thanks for that glowing testimonial there. That's great. Some more tech tools that are really nice. These are all found in Zoom, things that can be done in Zoom. This was something that Alexis had said before on our previous student panel, was how much she appreciated the opportunity for Zoom to make her courses even easier to attend and to get to. And we see here that it's the use of Zoom through breakout rooms, surveys, polls, and even those apps that you can put right into it, like Kahoot, being able to use it for pre-quizzes or quizzes to really help. And one of the things that this instructor did to take it one step further, she asked her students, was this helpful? was it useful? To really help find tools that spoke to her students and helped them the most. So that was kind of that next step that the instructor was able to take. And then it's important to kind of think about your different learners, because I heard from Alexis, for instance, she doesn't like to have to spend 10 minutes looking for an assignment. She wants it to be easy. So really thinking about how that course is organized. This student responded that they spend some time at the beginning of their course, their semester, really looking at the course organization. They enjoy having those tabs that are well labeled that help them walk through everything. A course that I built, I made sure I labeled everything that was week one. April's building courses where she color codes. Module 1 is blue and module 2 is orange to help with some of those visual organizational skills. And this student said that having lots of ways to access content is actually confusing for them. They like to have that organized structure in those tabs. They really want to know. However, we also had a response that another student loved having multiple ways to access material. So they liked that in the announcement or in the email was a direct link to the assignment that they needed to complete, or there was a direct link to the reading that they needed to do. They appreciated that little bit of help. So it's trying to recognize how do you help both of these students? What are our thoughts from our attendees today? How do you help both of these students? What can you do?
I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me is that the first student would benefit from checklists. I mean, I myself love a checklist. I have one right here. You can't see it because of my background, but and I think that would really help that first student to be able to be reassured, to have one place to go where they can see, okay, these are the things that are due for week 1 or module 1 or unit 1. So at least they know like where they are. And Laura and I were talking about that yesterday when we were in a course where we didn't know how many parts were in it, and it was anxiety producing because we didn't know how much more we had to go. So I think having that layout for students to show them exactly what they need to do can be really helpful.
Now we have both of these students in one class.
Right.
What do we do in our class? Oh, go ahead, Alexis. I saw you on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's interesting to see both of these students because I can resonate with both of these students. I'm the type of so I started off with in person, unlike a lot of my my fellow students who have gone through virtual the entire time that they've been here. I was in person, then I switched to virtual. And things that I have noticed is when certain things are down, when D2L is down or certain links are down, I do enjoy more than one way of getting somewhere because again, with the anxiety of I'm not too much older of a student, but I am a little bit of an older student. So my kind of way that I was raised up is I have to get this done. This is a way that I need to problem solve, and I need to figure out how do I get this done, even though something isn't working. So having a lot of different ways to get to somewhere has really helped me because it lowers my anxiety of, okay, this is still due. They may prolong the due date because a lot of people can't get to it, but still I'm responsible for this assignment. So I need to figure out, in case it's not prolonged, what do I do? So I do like the different ways of getting somewhere, just in case one way is down, if that makes sense.
Thank you for that input, for that side, that viewpoint. And maybe in our courses, then we make sure that our tabs are well labeled and it's organized, and we've explained our structure in that course orientation video. And then maybe we facilitate some of those connections by providing those direct links in our communications. So that way we can facilitate both students to help them access the material in the way that works best for them. All right.
I've noticed working with students in the Writing Center that, a student, they'll be given in English an article that they have to read and then respond to. And even though the article is available on an outside website, many times students still go through clicking all the different links in D2L to get to the article at that point. And that does take up a lot of time and can add to confusion, because if they can't find it, or like Alexis said, if D2L happens to be down, or there's a glitch or something. So, you know, even though we've provided a link for it in D2L, it's also helpful, you know, maybe in that weekly announcement to provide a direct link to the, you know, resource, whatever it is, so that students don't have to kind of get lost in the tabs and the clicks as they're trying to get back to their resource.
Sorry, I do have a comment on that, because one of the things that, and I don't know if I even have this on my D2L, I have to look, but I know that you can get your announcements to actually each student can set it up. So whatever announcements are on the D2L can be emailed to them, I believe. So that also, I have to look myself, but I think I was told that. And that's also really nice, because in the case that D2L is down, because that actually happened, I believe, recently, D2L was down and I had an assignment and I was like, oh no, what if it's still down and I can't submit my assignment? Luckily it was back up. But if you have those things going on, like you said with the article, to have that in your email where you can just click it in your email
Right.
and go to that outside source is also great. So to find a way to connect to all of that in case D2L is down, I think is beneficial.
That conversation is a great way for us to kind of wrap up our thoughts about our student voices. What's going to happen is we'll look at kind of the themes that came out of this, and our next 3 lunch and learns will be based on things that we talked about today. So we'll be able to explore those more fully. And in fact, we have badges set up for our next one. So there you go, Alexis. And then we'll just be able to sum it up. Here's our student voices, and we have D2L and tech tools that make a difference. Thank you for coming to this lunch and learn. And I see that Elizabeth just thanked Alexis, and Elizabeth, thank you so much for that, because we're so glad that Alexis came. We're pleased with our virtual students who made that effort too. They couldn't be here because they had class or work, and I'm glad they made those other efforts. And Alexis, thank you to you and to your professor who let you go a little bit early so you could be here for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen to me.